All right, here we go. Starting with Saturday here. 5 singles on the squat. I did end up doing that. All singles with 520 here. Really, the focus of this squat session and today's squat session, so my last 2 squat sessions, have really been to work on form. I'm trying to get rid of that stanky leg, which is, the knee cave. That happens kind of in the middle of the squat, and that's like my sticking point, it seems like. So what I was really trying to work on with these singles is finding kind of that right, distance between my feet. I think that I've been using like a way too wide of a stance, especially, not that I've done front squat in a while, but with front squats. And that's what really causes that knee cave, is the stance is too wide for, what I'm built for. I was mostly happy with these singles though. This is a bit of a deload, to be honest, with, where I'd like to be. Ideally, I said in the past, this is what I wanted to work up to for sets of 5 with my 5RM. And now I'm just at this doing singles, and I've squatted for 3. I could probably squat it for 4, full on effort if I had to. But really the most important thing to me right now is just working on the form. So, like I said, if I could have whatever I wanted, I'd be using 545. But, there's a lot to do for now. I'll make 5-pound jumps, though, 5 pounds every week. It's not too bad. And then right after is immediately followed with strict press. Doubles with 205. This is military press. No, lean. I'm trying to basically just stand at attention throughout the entire press. For me, it's a slightly wider hand position to, really touch it to the collarbone. I did this for 10 sets of 2. This is just my last 5 sets. And I took like 30 or 45 seconds rest in between. I can probably also make a 5-pound jump on this if I wanted to. This was pretty easy. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even look up to try to get that little amount of curvature in my butt. See, I corrected my head position there. Straight forward, strict as freaking possible. Just really focus on bar path. All right, here we go. Halting deadlifts, 500 pounds, 8 reps. This is, these are tough. They didn't beat me up as much. That's what I was kind of surprised about. Oh, look, I stepped away to switch which hand was over and which hand was under for my mixed grip. So really it's 2 sets of 4, right? Whatever. It's 8 reps. I don't care. You want to call it 2 sets of 4 because I stepped back, took a breath. That's fine. This, my shoulders were beat up after this set. I think I was moving my shoulders at the top a little bit. I don't really think I had much of the pause that you're supposed to get right above the knee. You see that, that little kind of shrug there? It's I just had all this tightness in my shoulders immediately following the set. So I think that's why, but it's cool. It's cool. We'll see how these fare out. I want to work up to, I think, 520 for 8, 525 for 8. And then this is 110 pounds for a very difficult set of 5 there. I don't even know if you want to count that last one. I'm going to move to sets of 4 for the weighted pull-ups. And this is yesterday. 228, 5 sets of 5, press 2.0 style. See, the issue with this session is I kept experimenting with how wide I wanted my feet to be, because I'm trying to get rid of any knee bend that might be happening. I wore pants, so you can't even really tell if there was. But I want to try to neutralize any inkling I might have to bend my knees by getting wider. So there's some goofy. This one, I think the last set was the most goofy stance. But yeah, I'm getting that hip drive down with these. So look at that. Bar's moving fast. I think this was the last set, so maybe not. Let's see. Nah, this is the wide ass one. Look at that. Ugh. what is this, sumo style over. They're like, my feet are outside shoulder width. There's no need to go that far. But when I'm consciously trying to make my legs wider, it's going to be wider than it already is. And I already take a wide enough stance. All right, so this is a session I just finished. 455 for 3 sets of 5. So that's a huge fucking deload. This is what I started with when I did my squat progression that went from like December to midway through January. I wore sleeves though, so it's not quite the same. But you see here, what I want to focus on is keeping those knees from caving. No more doing the stanky leg. And, you know, I can't complain. The other thing I wanted to get away from is I felt every fucking set, man, feels like a 5 RM. Even on the ascending, even when I'm making like, 10 pound jumps every set, it doesn't matter. The first set feels like a 5 RM. The second set feels like a 5 RM. Today, this didn't feel like 5 RMs. The last set, maybe. But I feel like I could have got like 1 or 2 more, to be completely honest. One thing I started doing today too is I got these caffeine pills. They're not very much. They're like 100 milligrams a pill. So I took that in addition to my pre-workout coffee. I train in the morning, always, even days like today when I'm off work. So I didn't feel like jitters or anything, which is what I was kind of worried about. That's why I went with 100 milligrams instead of 200. Plus, I already have the coffee in me. So performance might have been slightly better, to be honest. I also did 80 pull-ups. Look, I had to correct the bar position. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't want that there's high bar, mid bar, low bar, and then there's the storage strength bar where you get it on a nice slant. No, I'm just messing around. If you're watching this, I know you fixed it, but I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm trying to copy you. This is probably my best set, the last one here. I think this is the last rep. Yeah, but my feet, they weren't equal. One foot was further back, and I fixed it on the very last rep. But look at that. No knee cave on the last and hardest rep. Really happy with that. And this was like the light day. 8 sets of 10. This is just my last 3 sets. But yeah, where I was going with the caffeine pills. All these pull-up sets felt hard, though. I'm not going to lie. But my shoulders felt beat up from yesterday. And so I could like just feel fatigue and tightness and like my rear delts. They were like beat the fuck up from pressing yesterday. So I feel like that's more so what it was, not necessarily anything else like a caffeine crash, or even if I didn't take if I didn't take the caffeine pill, would it have been worse? I don't know. So yeah, that's it. Tomorrow's some pin pressing. Looking forward to that. All right, and I'll be back on Friday. No car talk today. The reason for that is because I'm feeling that the car talks are kind of becoming redundant. And I mean car talk in the sense of when I'm just talking about training. My post-lift training talks when I'm driving back home in my car. Not something that I think that is going to kind of like continue the same way it has, because there's only so much you can talk about with training over and over again until you're just, kind of yapping about training. So I don't feel that it's interesting to watch anymore. And I was feeling that the other day when I made my post last Friday, where it's like, man, I don't think I'm adding anything new to this that I haven't already discussed in the voiceover. So Friday I have a long drive that day, so I will do a literal talk in the car, but I'm going to I have another idea in mind. It's not just going to be about my training. So this is something else that I wanted to do. This is a bit different from lifting. I'm going to talk about tunes, what I listen to when I lift, or outside of lifting, music. Because believe it or not, I have interests outside of lifting that I think might overlap with some people that watch the channel. So what I want to do today is I want to talk about my favorite metal albums I listen to when I'm training or when I'm in the car or whatever else. With this, I'm trying to also, I've challenged myself, and I'm not going to just name popular albums. I'm gonna try to give you guys hidden gems, give you something that you might be able to add into your own lifting playlist or give a listen to, add something new. So we got a couple of my favorite bands I listen to here. I'm only gonna bring them up. I've got five bands I'm gonna talk about because I feel like I've listened to enough of these bands over and over again throughout the past like year that I can adequately say which albums my favorite are. Two bands I listen to regularly that I'm gonna leave off of this because pretty much all of what I listen to comes from the same album. Haven't done enough of a deep dive. Is Strapping Young Lad and Rob Zombie / White Zombie. Consider it all the same thing in Rob Zombie. But most of what I like from those bands comes from the same album, and it's the most popular album. So there's no point in me mentioning it because it's like, oh, this is my favorite album, and then I name you, imagine if I say Metallica and then I show you the Black Album. Like, okay, that's everybody's favorite album that likes Metallica. I don't like Metallica, but if I did, and I named the Black Album, you'd be like, well, what was the point of me watching this? So, all right, anyway, I also have the Chinese iPod, which is why I wanted to be inside, because I need the Wi-Fi to show these albums off. So I'm going to start here with Korn. Korn, in my opinion, seems to be a goth girl's favorite band. So I hesitate to even throw them in this, but last year around this time, I was listening to a lot of Korn. So I've trained to Korn for well over a year now. I've listened to a bunch of their albums. I still listen to Korn, though they're a little corny, pun intended, just like that joke. But yeah, this is a goth chick's favorite band, so take it with a grain of salt. Anyway, the best Korn album is Follow the Leader, but that's their most popular album. So for sake of this video, I'm going to give you this one, See You on the Other Side. Now, I listen to this quite a bit. This is probably, honestly, Follow the Leader, which is their second album, and Korn, which is their first album, are probably the best. Unfortunately, as the way this band goes, no, I'm sorry, Follow the Leader was their third album. Life is Peachy is their second album. As this band goes, if you know anything about Korn, it just gets worse and worse as it goes. I mean, all this stuff is pretty good. And then after about here, which is the album that I'm naming right there, See You on the Other Side, it doesn't get much, there's good songs here and there on the way on the rest of their discography, but it's all kind of downhill after See You on the Other Side. So my personal favorite Korn song is Twisted Transistor, which is the lead song on this album. That's a great song. Coming Undone, which is the most popular song on this album, great song. But all throughout, this is good Korn. It doesn't get any better than it gets a little bit better than this marginally on two other albums. I would say this is the third best album overall. I just don't want to give you the most popular one. Anyway, if you don't want to listen to Korn and you're not a big nu metal guy, or you don't want to listen to goth girl music, I understand that. So that's why we're going to go with them first, get them out of the way. All right, next. And you know what? Before I leave off with Korn, they have the Greatest Hits Volume 1. And I said Twisted Transistor is my favorite Korn song. There actually is one better one, in my opinion. They do a cover of Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall, and that's on their Greatest Hits Volume 1. I don't think it's on any other I haven't been able to find it on the other albums. When I listen to it on Apple Music, it always comes from the Greatest Hits Volume 1. That's worth it. If you want to get into Korn, Greatest Hits Volume 1 came out in 2004. That song's good. It's better than Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd, I don't really like. I think they suck. But anyway, next we're going to go System of a Down. So, System of a Down, everybody's favorite album, is going to be Toxicity. I'm not going to tell you Toxicity. I don't even think it's the best album. I think the best album right there, Mesmerized, sorry, I threw a D on there. All right. There's one other album that I'm going to name down the line here that is in two albums I'm going to name here that are in contention for the best metal album in the 21st century. this is in contention for that best album. As the Rageaholic Razorfist says. I don't know if he got it from somebody else, but he says it in his metal mythos all the time. All killer, no filler. That's what this is. I listened to this entire album once I started doing my working sets on squats today, all the way through my last set of pull-ups. I don't skip any of this, man. This is a good freaking album. The only one that's, whatever, is the intro to Soldier Side, because it's an intro, But everything else, BYOB, classic. Doesn't get better than that. The thing with System of a Down is they don't have much of a discography. They only have 5 albums, to my knowledge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to be honest, this last album here, Hypnotize, has a lot of potential, but the songs are just too slow. They're too slow. When you want metal, you don't want like these kind of like slow balladish songs. You want like, fast, hard and heavy. It's heavy metal. Everything in Mesmerize is perfectly paced. This stuff here is good. It's fast, headbanging. Seriously, all killer, no filler. There's not a single bad song on this album. I know all of these songs, like all these songs. Nothing there is worth skipping. So I'll leave it at that for System of a Down. Honestly, that's their best album. That's better than Toxicity. If you know System of a Down, you probably know Toxicity, because it's like, oh, you got Aerials, you got Chop Suey, Toxicity. BYOB kind of gets thrown in there, but, Mesmerize is the best. Hypnotize is too slow. So I've listened to a lot of System of a Down. I've listened to probably every System of a Down song at this point. The other album that's pretty good from them, that's underrated, is their first song, which is, again, self-titled System of a Down. But Mesmerize is better. All right, now we're going to get into my favorite bands, top 3 favorite bands. So I'm going to give you 3 albums from all these. All right, next we're going Killswitch Engage. Now, Killswitch Engage, unfortunately, I am going to talk about some of their more popular. Let me see all the albums. All right, fine, be that way. Now, I'm going to start most recent. Atonement is probably, it's not my 3rd favorite, it's my 4th favorite album, but because I'm going to use some of their most popular music, I don't want to cheat. Atonement, this came out in 2019. Got some good songs on here. When I first got into Killswitch Engage, it was around 2020. So this was still pretty popular and new at the time. So a lot of these songs is what got me into Killswitch Engage in the first place. And honestly, there's some filler in here. It's not their best work, but, Unleashed, Signal Fire, I Am Broken Too. Those are probably the most popular songs on the album. The Crownless King. Those are good songs. When it's at the best, Killswitch Engage is at their best. Classic Killswitch Engage. I wouldn't recommend that if you wanted to get into Killswitch Engage, though. It's good, but it's not Killswitch Engage at their best. I'm going to make this kind of an honorable, it's not quite my thing, but I have listened to, this is their original album, Killswitch Engage. Every metal band, your first album has to be self-titled, apparently. It's not quite my thing. It's kind of closer to black metal than it is with their kind. If you're familiar with Killswitch Engage, it's like metal kind of mixed with like punk a little bit. I think that's a good way to describe it. If you're into like darker, heavier, like black metal type music, you might want to give their first album here a listen. Not quite my thing. Gonna make it an honorable mention though. Next, I'm gonna say Alive or Just Breathing. It's probably one of their most popular albums. It's the second one. Came out in 2002. It's good. Best song on it, My Last Serenade. It's one of their more popular songs. I've listened to it. Not their best work, definitely up there though. And then the best album from Killswitch Engage, and I'm not even gonna, because I'm going to use As Daylight Dies here. I'm not going to use The End of a Heartache, though that is probably, this is their second best album, but I'm trying to give you guys new stuff. But if you listen to Killswitch Engage, you know As Daylight Dies. You can even get the extended edition too, where they do a cover of Holy Diver. I don't know why it's not coming up on Apple Music at the moment. I literally have listened to the album in its entirety on Apple Music before, but whatever. We'll just go to stick with this one. All right. This right here, this is album 2 out of 3 that I'm telling you, one of the best metal albums of the 21st century. Again, this is all killer, no filler. I listened to this while I was warming up today. I didn't listen to the whole thing because it's 43 minutes long. I probably only listened to about half of it. But when this album is at their best, Killswitch, this is classic Killswitch Engage. You want to get into Killswitch Engage, you never listened to Killswitch Engage before, give this shit a listen. This is good. Everything, seriously, everything on here is killer. My Curse is the most popular song. If you listen to Killswitch Engage, you've heard that. But my favorite Killswitch Engage song when I first started listening to them was The Arms of Sorrow. That's on this. Daylight Dies, which is the lead-off track. It's title of the album. That's a really fucking good song. I mean, honestly, everything on here, all the way down to the last song. I'm not seeing anything on here that I skip. I don't skip any of this. All killer, no filler, for real. All right. Now we'll go to my favorite band, which shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that's ever, if you've watched the channel before today, I'm always fucking wearing Iron Maiden stuff. Now, this one's easiest for me because Iron Maiden's been my favorite band for 3.5, 4 years now, maybe even 4.5 years. So it's easy for me to, everybody's favorite Iron Maiden albums: Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I'm not going to name any of those. All right, if you want to listen to Iron Maiden, try not to lose my voice here. If you want to listen to Iron Maiden, you should go ahead and give, everybody agrees, Number of the Beast. Hello. Number of the Beast is the best album. I'm gonna try to give you something else here. So to start, and this is my favorite band, so I'm gonna kind of break the rules here. You have the albums that they made with Paul Di'Anno as the frontman before Bruce Dickinson. I'm a huge Bruce Dickinson guy. I think he's got one of the best voices in metal. But with Paul Di'Anno, both these albums, Iron Maiden, again, you gotta have it self-titled, and Killers right there. So actually the story behind this, allegedly, is that they released they wrote all of these songs together, so both the Iron Maiden album and the Killers album all written together, and then they release their favorite songs on Iron Maiden, and then everything that they didn't like enough to put in Iron Maiden goes in Killers. And so Iron Maiden's supposed to be killer, and Killers is supposed to be filler. But both of those albums, which again, I'm kind of breaking the rules here to combine as one, both of them, excellent albums. Both of them pretty much all killer, no filler. Here you go. Iron Maiden, the first album. I'll tell you that I think it's Remember Tomorrow, or is it Strange World? Maybe both of them. Hang on. That ain't right. That one's not very good. Strange World, in my opinion. Remember Tomorrow. Yeah, okay, both of them. I was right. But I don't really like either of them. One of them is like consensus filler. Shouldn't have been on this. I don't remember which one it was. I don't really like either of them. But Prowler, Running Free, Phantom of the Opera, Transylvania, not Strange World, Charlotte the Harlot, and Iron Maiden. Great freaking songs. And then on Killers, which is supposed to be the filler, doesn't matter. All this stuff is really, really good. The only thing is they have some songs in here that are no lyrics at all, which is probably why they considered it filler and put it on the next album, but still really, really good stuff. All right, again. Honestly, so my last band here is going to be Judas Priest. And Judas Priest is the best metal band of all time. And it's not even close. It's not a question. Iron Maiden's my favorite, but Judas Priest is the best. And just like what I said with Korn, Iron Maiden's music didn't age as well. I mean, it's not age. As they age, the quality of the music goes down, right? So now, the most recent album is Senjutsu. I liked it when I first started listening to Iron Maiden. Pretty much unlistenable now, to be honest with you, though. Everything too long and slowed down. I'm not about that. Honestly, you could probably speed the music up and it's more listenable. So for me, it's kind of hard to take something from early Iron Maiden and try to, kind of put it off as maybe you haven't listened to it through all the way. So my second favorite Iron Maiden album, because I'm going to consider those first two together, probably Somewhere in Time. Now, it's fairly popular. Amongst normies, maybe not, but if you listen to Iron Maiden before, this is probably up there. If I'm not going to be able to say fairly enough, by my own rules, I'm not going to be able to say Power Slave, Peace of Mind, Number of the Beast, or Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, at least let me throw Somewhere in Time in there. There's some synth in this album, though. I'm not, if you're not a fan of that, then proceed at your own risk. But Heaven Can Wait, Sea of Madness, and the best, Wasted Years is pretty good too. It's not the best, metal song in the world. It's kind of poppy, and Caught Somewhere in Time is too. But Sea of Madness, Heaven Can Wait, Stranger in a Strange Land, and the best song on the album, Alexander the Great. Iron Maiden doesn't get too much better than that, so give this a listen. Now, this is actually my favorite Iron Maiden album. I think it's underrated. Apparently people don't like it. Fear of the Dark. All right, this is the best Iron Maiden. If you want to get an Iron Maiden, listen to all the popular shit first. If you don't like the popular shit, you're not going to like this. But this is Iron Maiden at their best. It is in contention for my favorite metal album of all time. Fuck. Anyway. Great freaking album. All killer, no filler. There's some songs in here that I like a little bit less. Afraid to Shoot Strangers and is it on here? Yeah, Weekend Warrior. Depending on the mood I'm in, I'll skip him. But man, say this: The Fugitive, The Apparition, Judas Be My Guide, Fear of the Dark. Some of Iron Maiden's best work. If you listen to Iron Maiden, you haven't got into this album, everything on here is good. Everything on here is good. Some people call it all killer, no filler. I'm not a big fan of those two songs, so I won't give it that stamp of approval. This is Iron Maiden at their best. Judas Priest. All right, now, when you're the best metal band of all time and probably the most popular metal band of all time, it's hard to call any of your albums underrated. Metallica's more popular, probably. I will not be naming Painkiller or British Steel or Screaming for Vengeance, so forgive me when I say Defenders of the Faith. We're gonna come in at 3. Now, for me, it's probably not their third bet. Painkiller, British Steel. You're not getting much better than that, but I don't want to be like everybody else. That's the whole point of this video. So, Defenders of the Faith. This is a pretty good freaking album. All right. Free Will Burning. I mean, honestly, some heads are gonna roll on this. That's classic freaking Judas Priest. I really shouldn't have to advertise. If you listen to Judas Priest, you probably listen to this album. I'm just going to move on, but... Number 2, and honestly, this is one of my favorite Judas Priest albums. Maybe I'd put it at... this isn't something that I train to too often. This is more so something that I put on when I'm chilling in the car. Point of Entry. This is a good album. It's a good album. I think that's a little bit underrated. But when you have the discography of Judas Priest, this is another band's best album. I'm not hitting PRs to this music or anything like that. I'm not really going to do my working sets to this music, to these songs rather, but it's a really good album. Literally, the song Headed Out to the Highway. I listen to it on the highway all the time. It fits. It's good. Finally. All right. Here we go. This more than likely is the best heavy metal album of the 21st century. This is a gem that I think gets lost. Firepower, baby. Firepower. This is fucking good. This is all killer, no filler. This embodies all killer, no filler. There might be one song in here that I regularly skip. I don't know what it is, though. I think it might be Sea of Red, which is the last song on the album. Maybe it's that, but I'm not too sure. I'd have to listen to it. I'd have to hear the beat first. This is good. This is good. This is why I say, hands down, Judas Priest, best metal band of all time. You start making music in the 70s, it doesn't get very good. Let me look back at their album history. Hell Bent for Leather is what most people say, is the first time that the band got good. British Steel, great fucking album, and then they really kind of take off from there. So, you start making music, 74, your first great album comes out in 78. 40 years later, am I doing that math right? 78, 88, 98, 08, 18. 40 years later, you are still making fucking bangers and great fucking every fucking, if you watch my podcast with Storied Strength, I say that there's certain music that I listen to I listen to this almost every fucking overhead press session. This is probably the best metal album of the 21st century. This is fucking good. I did not believe it was made in 2018. I thought this was like remastered or something. I hope that didn't cut me out. I thought this was remastered or something. And it was just reproduced in 2018. I did not believe it. I had to search it up and reword it 17 different ways online to make sure that these songs came out in 2018. Half the band isn't even around anymore. It's, Rob Halford was there and then he wasn't there, but now he's back. So I think it's just Rob Halford at this point. I don't think that anybody else from the original band is there when this happened. And by the way, Invincible Shield, which they just released last year, this shit's pretty fucking good too. At its best, it's pretty close to Firepower, but Firepower is a great fucking album. If you haven't listened to it, if you like Judas Priest, you'll love this shit, dude. Classics. Lightning Strike. No Surrender. No Surrender isn't even starred on the album. How the fuck is that not starred? That is probably the best song on the album. This is good fun. This is metal. This is metal. This is better than anything Metallica has ever made. All right. I don't like Metallica that much. You can probably tell, but fuck, dude, this is the best. Not their best album. Painkiller is their best album. British Steel, close second. But this is fucking up there, dude. This is a good fucking album. Can't recommend it enough. All right. I've been going on for almost 30 minutes on metal albums at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. I'll see you guys on Friday.